in the ban phase, you can already see Rakan and Draven taken off the board. And they can leave Lucian up because they can just first pick it. You then guarantee Patrik the strong 2v2. And the only other real answers, they're not even doing that. They're actually really limiting the AD carry pool. Maybe they then want to take the Ezreal away?
Vedius, we have a question from our prep this week that we may be able to answer today. What will Hans Summer do on an AD carry that cannot bully and dominate that bottom lane? It was something that you and I discussed heavily when preparing for this matchup. And with Draven and Lucian taken off the table, what direction will these two players or these two teams go? Aatrox, Cassie Aurelio.
It's got to be Akali. Both Alphari and Nukeduck more than capable of playing. Oh, okay, they're going to switch things up and instead go for the Urgot. So this now brings into the question, how much flexibility does Misfits have in their draft? Because while G2 are the flex kings, Misfits haven't really shown that. They've been very conventional. They did that a lot last year too. They ignored the hype of the majors bot lane. They played conventional AD carries. And now you kind of look at this and go, are they a team that can flex things like the Akali? Can they have a lot of flexibility in their draft?
Oh, well, Akali is locked in, and we will be finding the answer to that question in a few minutes' time. What other directions do these teams want to go? Cassio's gone. I mean, Galio is still open and available, probably too early to consider that for an option. The Ezreal's up as well.
Grab either the Ezreal or you could grab a support right now, something like the Brawl, maybe Alistar, maybe even get, well, yeah, there we go. So they are actually going to prioritize that. So Gorilla still has his Engage tool. He showcased last week his Rakan and Alistar, two very powerful picks for him. And he is really good at setting up plays for Hans Summer to then capitalize.
Last week, Gorilla's Alistar went 0-2-17. I do not believe he missed a headbutt pulverized combination, and he really was the front man in combination with Maxlore that then set the plays up. Very quick lock-ins now from Origen. Kold will be getting his hands on the Xin Zhao. The Galio has now been locked in for Nukeduck, and we're starting to get a feel of what these teams can do. What direction does Febiven, who currently has pick priority, take Misfits?
So I would put the Akali up top lane into the Urgot, and then I would try and get a counter pick, something like the Corki, maybe even the Vayne if they're feeling ambitious, but picking Vayne this early on is very risky. Instead, they're gonna play it safe. So it looks like that, again, Sion and Akali can be flexed between top and mid. Where that's going to go is very much dependent on their preference, but I think we can quite confidently say that the top side of the map is as you see it in the draft for Origen.
Yeah, I think the same, and for Misfits, if I were to take an educated guess, I would anticipate Sion to play SoaZ.
That's what I would expect.
Actually, in fact, it would be SoaZ to play Sion, but that's how often those two play on the same boat. But then, now we get to see, how good is Febiven? How good is Febiven back on EU soil? And will he live up to the history that he has once had?
The first EU Faker Slayer. That was the man. He went to MSI. He helped take Fnatic to 5 games against SKT, something that no European team had ever done before.
Vedius, Ezreal's gone, Kallista's gone, Lucian, Draven, Rakan, Morgana. The bottom lane is going way down. I mean, does this increase Caitlyn's value?
I mean, it could do. I mean, you kind of look at the AD carry pool. Varus is another champion that's available. I think Varus could work quite nicely in Origen's composition as well. Vayne is another thing you have to take into consideration.
Yeah, into the likes of Galio and Urgot. Hans Summer has already played extremely confidently on the LEC stage. The final ban is going to be Kha'Zix, removing the target from Maxlore. So Hans Summer either goes for a jungle pick now or a last pick AD carry.
I mean, so Varus is an option. It offers good follow-up, it has good damage, it's still pretty strong in the laning phase. However, against that much dive, risky, very risky. So you kind of want something with mobility, but the number of mobility ADs available are limited. Vladimir is something we've seen in the bot lane.
Whoa! Nunu? Does
jungle. It's Maxlore, it's gotta be. He's the edgy jungler that we have in the LEC.
Okay, but then what do you pair with this now? Because Nunu, obviously gonna be a powerful, you know, enabler for both the Akali as well as whatever Hans Summer's going to run, and maybe it's gonna be a hyper carry. Patrik will be deciding what champion to lock in, hovering between Kog'Maw, between Kai'Sa, and obviously we forgot that Kai'Sa's still up and available. Would Kai'Sa fit this comp? Is now Kog'Maw and TK rounded out.
This is a Protect the Kog'Maw comp. This is an OG classic. This is crazy. All right, so this is very much a front-to-back comp. Originally, you'd think that it'd be very much about the diving, but I guess that Oh, I actually really like the Tahm Kench against an Akali as well, because her dive is that much harder when there's a Galio protecting. There's the Xin knockback as well. But there's the Vayne.
There we
There
go.
it is. We talked a little bit about it. And it's like Vayne into Kog'Maw, the laning phase is not that great for Vayne, but the moment she hits level 6, she has a lot of kill pressure.
I don't care. I don't care. Nunu. Talk to me about Nunu. Nunu into Xin Zhao. Nunu plus Sion, SoaZ. I mean, just look at this team composition. What is Maxlore going to be doing on the reworked Nunu and Willem? I'm excited to see this gigantic snowball, to see the impact it's going to have. And there's 10 seconds left before Febiven and SoaZ can swap. I still expect SoaZ to play Sion, but let's see if there's going to be any more surprises.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, right.
All right, so yeah, there we are. Nukeduck gets the Galio into the Akali, which I'm sure is what Origen wanted. Alphari on the Urgot. So they have a winning match up top. They have a pretty solid matchup in the mid lane as well. And OG should have a winning bot lane matchup as well. But to go back to your Nunu point, I will be honest with you, QuickShot. I have seen very little Nunu play. I played with one Nunu who was the best Nunu I think I've ever seen professionally. He said it was in my solo queue game, so I can't say I've never really seen it competitive. And from what most pros tell me is that he just doesn't offer a lot. But he did receive some buffs not too long ago, and I guess this is going to be a learning experience for me because I don't fully understand what he offers to a team.
Right.
I know he's tanky, I know his ultimate has damage, and I know he can set up nice ganks, and he has good jungle clear.
Look at it this way. With the greatest or the biggest snowball ever, as well as absolute zero, the zoning and the disruption he will bring a big 5v5 team fight might just allow enough time for Febiven and Hans Sama to reposition, to dance and dart around a fight to pick the priority targets. All Maxlore has to do is be a nuisance and an annoyance and just be good enough at it to allow his carries to win the fight. That's the only option I can see right now.
You know, it's interesting that you talk about annoyances, because I know this matchup has been a bit of an annoyance for you, because I know you recently acquired a wife, and you also had a casting relationship with Deficio, and now they're actually going up against each other, is what I believe.
It is difficult because, of course, Deficio left me for Origen, okay, and now he's sitting backstage, and of course, my wife is with Misfits, so it's a difficult situation for me emotionally to decide, but
that makes sense.
Obviously, with Deficio breaking my heart, with Deficio stepping back, being the man that really let me down, being the man that stepped away.
He doesn't even care.
He's listening to his team, okay? He's not listening to the casters. You see, he dislikes me so much, he's stopped listening. He knows what's going on. He knows full well what's happening. And I just wish he told me. I just wish he had been man enough to tell me to my face.
It's
he just left.
It's okay.
He just left me.
It's all right. It's all right, QuickShot.
It's very awkward saying this while my wife is actually looking at me.
Don't make eye contact. She won't notice. It's fine.
Okay, let's turn our attention back to the game. I have a quick stat for you.
Why? Why
because this is my thing. This is my thing. QuickStat has been trying to do a lot of research, looking for inspiration for the next edition. And I think I might have just had an epiphany.
Okay.
Check back with me next week. But just a quick stat. The last time that we saw Nunu in pro play here in Europe was week 1 of summer 2018. And you'll be surprised who played it.
It was Maxlore, wasn't it?
It was Broxah who, in fact, played it.
Oh, that was the funnel comp, right?
How well did that go? Do you remember?
It wasn't.
Because it was also Reckless and Janna, if I recall correctly.
Yep.
And I believe it was against Misfits, if I recall correctly.
I do recall that, yes.
So, now the tables have turned. Will Maxlore and Misfits have better luck than Broxah and Fnatic last split? We're going to see Nunu for the first time here in 2019. Just a reminder, everybody, we did have those bugs last week on the tournament client when it came to picks and bans. Our team have identified those bugs and they are working on a patch. So this week in the interim, we're performing the picks and bans on a safe, reliable server, and then having the teams and players reconnect to the tournament realm, getting themselves on board, and then, of course, running through the picks and bans. So we will be loading into the game very, very shortly. It is Origen taking on Misfits. It's Deficio taking on Becca. And we need to see which of these teams will be able to stand near the top of the table.
Yeah.
And we get to test some of these theories. How good is Misfits?
Yep.
How good is Febiven? How coordinated are Origen with this protect the Kog'Maw comp?
Such excellent questions, QuickShot. I love them all.
Will you be able to answer them by the end of this game?
I hope so. That's what I very much am looking forward to. I'm very excited for this game. We get to see Febiven on a carry. right? Which is I'm super hyped for because I remember the Z days. Like last year, he was like, I'm going to play Azir. And I'm like, no, that ain't Febiven. Let's put him on like Zed. And now he's playing Akali. And I'm like, yeah, this is cool. And now he's going up against Nukeduck's Galio, which won't be a super interactive lane, but we've already saw Caps' Akali today.
Yes, we have.
And so now you kind of have a benchmark.
Well, there we go. If Caps is defining mid lane performance for the league, which I'm happy to give him that title, where does Febiven reach? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for bearing with us through the delay. It is Origen taking on Misfits. It is bragging rights and performance demonstrations on the line. We load up onto the Rift for the last game here of day 1 in week 2. And Alphari will be on that Urgot. He's going up against SoaZ's Sion. And of course, Maxlore playing this Nunu into Kold. Xin Zhao. Kold last weekend, very, very impressive in terms of his play and decision-making.
And I think Kold's value is often very much unseen in the game, and I'll be looking forward to seeing if he's playing the Xin Zhao again. Will he look to try and set up ganks somewhere on the map? I don't think he has that many options available to him right now, but I think the cool thing about Kold is very much what he offers outside of just ganking, because you think about, so I had the opportunity to talk to Deficio last week, and he told me that Kold just tracked the enemy jungler permanently. He was constantly informing his team of where Broxah was, what he was doing, which lanes need to be careful, and he's just this communication hub for his team. He's just a guy that constantly informs what is going on all the time. And you can see in terms of the difference in jungle proximity, Kold is much below the average, but again, that's because his value doesn't really come from trying to snowball his lanes. His lanes are already pretty solid by themselves. Instead, he just acts as like the overseer, and he gives them the information to help them make more informed decisions.
Well, I'm interested to see what level of impact he can have, because Kold could really take over this early game. Has the ability to step up when you look at these two team compositions. Level 1 trades already going on. Remember, Hansama and Gorilla have been the tip of the spear for Misfits in their 2-0 debut last week. And now with this Vayne, Alistar, they could be crucial to make the team comp work in the late stages of the game.
So these comps are quite interesting to me because OG, to me, have quite clearly drafted towards team fighting. But what we often see with the Galio and Xin Zhao is a dive the backline comp. But you kind of look at Akali and Vayne, they're pretty mobile, and I feel like that those two are actually very hard to... Ooh, look at Sion, it's taking a lot of damage there, but they're actually very difficult to die. So I feel like this is much more about helping protect Patrik in these team fights as champions like Febiven and Hansama make their way onto the backline. So I'm quite excited to see how Origen pull this comp off. But when you kind of look at the scaling for Misfits, Vayne, Akali, so strong in the late game fights. And I feel like it's much easier for them to play these fights just because of how mobile they are and how much of a strong front line they have to play around as well.
I mean, easier to play. I quite like the concept, right? But also for OG, it's just make sure Patrik stays alive.
Yes.
Use all of your abilities to keep Patrik alive. And for Origen, that linear focus is also going to help them out. Vedius, we talked very extensively in the previous game about the pressure that can be unlocked as Gorilla takes a lot of damage, forced to flash. He's just trying to dissuade the poke and the pressure under the tower. 3 minutes in, and Gorilla's already lost his flash.
So we talked a little bit about this in draft, but you have to be really careful playing against a Kog'Maw in the early game because he has a lot of damage and he hard outranges the Vayne too. So she really struggles in the 2v2, and Tahm Kench considered a very strong pick into the Alistar as well. So I like that they're applying a lot of pressure already, but you can also see Maxlore pathing towards the bot side of the map. He should have been spotted because Origen do have those 2 wards. So they're playing a little bit more reserved. I like this from the Origen duo. So far in the early game, things going pretty positively for Origen across the board.
Caught a glimpse there of Mithy, obviously moving into Misfits jungle, getting a glimpse on the Sentinel, resetting the timer, placing a ward into the river. So Patrik and Mithy can play forward and aggressively. Now, with the exception of Gorilla's flash, Hansama has not lost too many CS.
It's doing well, it's doing well.
So you've got to give some credit to the fact that Patrik and Mithy have been shoving in. Also want to highlight the fact that there are 3 teleports on the side of Origen to the single TP on the side of Misfits.
Well, Hansama picking up the heal, I think, is very much more tied to his dueling prowess. But once again, very classic Misfits. We see Maxlore hanging around the bot side of the map. We see it all of last week. We expected Misfits to play around the bot side, but the key difference this time is that Misfits don't have a winning 2 versus 2. So how will they play around it?
Well, let's take a look. Biggest snowball ever starting to come in. Mithy holds onto the flash for a few seconds, goes very, very low. Whoa! No, grey health secured. Patrik forced to flash as well. While that's going on, that's a taunt in the mid lane. Nukeduck's looking to pick up a solo kill onto Febiven, but Febiven's going to be under pressure into the tower.
Huge mistake there from Mithy. The grey health wasn't popped because he wasn't expecting that amount of damage. He even had the heal. But that results in Misfits finding that early kill in the bot lane. And we talked about how Misfits love to play around the bot side of the map. They love to enable Hansama and Gorilla. And while you would not expect it in this matchup, Misfits once again pull it off.
Oh, very, very nicely done. It was Maxlore that picks up the kill secure, though. So one tiny solace for OG, but obviously on the re-engage. Hex Flash, a handbell pole, but just lands.
Really good stuff there from Origen. We can also see on your Pip, Alphari almost get it. He gets solo kill!
Ladies and gentlemen, SoaZ makes the move from Fnatic to Misfits. And despite getting bullied at level 2, he picks up a solo kill. It costs him his flash. The same on the other side. Misfits 2-0 already. And let's see what they can extend. I do want to look at some numbers very quickly. If Mithy doesn't get killed, Maxlore and Gorilla, a little bit of an observer delay there. Flash is unavailable, grey health as well as heal. Here comes Febiven. This should be an easy kill donated. Hansama may be able to pick it up as well. The auto attack to Hansama.
And Misfits find themselves 3 kills in the early game against Origen. Like, we talked so much about you should expect this from Misfits and how they're looking to play around bot and how they've always been able to snowball these games, but expectations were not what they'd be able to do it against Origen, but they're pulling it off again. In a losing matchup, SoaZ finds a kill onto Alphari. In a losing duo in the bot side of the map, Misfits are finding kills. And now, Mithy, he doesn't have pressure bot. He has no information on where Gorilla and Maxlore are. He ends up getting collapsed upon, but we don't have time because there's even more action.
There absolutely is. SoaZ is flashless, and Kold decides not to go for the engage. But just a punished mistake there as Mithy's now 0-2. I just want to turn your attention really quickly to this matchup in the mid lane. Febiven 0-0-1. He has played against Nukeduck 24 times, and Febiven has an 18-6 head-to-head record directly against Nukeduck. These players have played for many, many years against one another. The CSD is as even as you're going to get. And for the time being, Febiven being helped out by his team to a strong start here against Nukeduck and Origen.
For those that may be new to the LEC, Nukeduck played for Vitality for a very long time and has been part of the league ever since, I think, 2014, maybe 2015 is when he came back in. But Febiven also debuted in the LCS in 2015 with Fnatic, and where they went on to have the 18-0 split in the summer of that year and made it to the semifinals at Worlds. And over the years, they've fought on many different teams. Nukeduck, actually, no, they never fought when they were on Schalke, but it was primarily Vitality, and then Febiven went over to H2K as well.
Yes.
But consistently, Febiven has had Nukeduck's number.
And as far as history goes, these teams are very storied. SoaZ, of course, used to play for Origen during 2015, 2016. Gorilla, as well as Mithy and SoaZ, made it to semifinals in Worlds the same year here in Europe, albeit on different sides of the bracket. Febiven fancies himself a shot. He's used that cutlass and is pushing Nukeduck back. The moment Nukeduck loses access to the taunt, realizes he's in a little bit of trouble, so Febiven uses the perfect execution, puts some distance between Kold and Nukeduck, and Kold has been unable to find a way to impact the game just yet. He has been farming up a storm, has access to his ultimate. The Misfits 700 gold up on the early plays, led by Maxlore, and the punishing Mithy have got them an advantage.
Yeah. It surprises me that Misfits have been able to find all these early kills. And the thing about Misfits is when they have a lead, they know exactly what to do. Now, Hansama, did he pop the ultimate? No. Just a bit of a good trade there against Patrik. Is running with the Hail of Blades. But now we see once again, Maxlore, bot side of the map. Galio making his way down.
Yeah, look at the minimap. Kold is with Nukeduck, and they're starting to move. Febiven had read it. He'd actually started to leave lane near instantly, albeit he would have been late. Obviously not going to be able to chase Nukeduck's ultimate. And Misfits continue to extend the lead. CS is even across the board, including for Maxlore in the jungle, but 1-0-1. Obviously going to have a little bit of an advantage there, and This game is starting very tense, but it is very impressive that by 10 minutes, Misfits have 3 kills and a dragon already.
Yeah. Maxlore doing great work in the early game. He had a lot of praise last year in the first half of Summer Split especially, but towards the end, many started to question whether he could still be a big carry for the team. He's now bringing out the Nunu pick. I'm surprised by how active this Nunu can be, and what we've learned to QuickShot is that Nunu has some damage.
Well, of course, biggest snowball ever.
That's true.
Find that with a snowball barrage and some burst from Vayne with Halo Blades, Silver Bolts.
Now he's making his way up towards the top side of the map.
I love this animation, by the way. Biggest snowball ever is one of the trolliest things you can see next to the likes of a Kled charge. It's just
he also has
makes me happy.
He also has the bots, the Mecha Nunu skin, which has the greatest laugh in the game. I love that laugh.
I hate people that bind that to their mouse. I actually dislike
that.
If people do that and spam it, you're the worst human being
Ignite gets
possible.
used.
All right, SoaZ is being run down. He has flash in just a second or two. Continues to chase. The ultimate from Alphari was not within execution range just yet. Needs to get a little more damage. Roar of the Slayer comes back out. Now Alphari's used all his skills. Gorilla finds the stun onto Patrik. That's a chase forward from Hunt Summer. And Gorilla is able to set Hunt Summer up once again. Now in the mid lane, Taunt lands on the Febi. Maxlore's not going to tower dive. And in a straight up 2v2, Gorilla and Hunt Summer take down Mithy and Patrik.
We talked about it, the level 6 for Hansama and Gorilla is very strong and you have to respect it. And I don't know when the Kasum was used from Mithy, but it wasn't up in time. Hansama ends up finding another kill. 2-0-1 now on the Vayne.
Okay, SoaZ still has flash available. That's a flash disdain! Alphari's looking for the kill. SoaZ's ultimate buys a few seconds. Flashes away to safety. Summon a spell blown, but it was because Alphari also committed. Here comes a snowball. Curve it, curve it, curve it. Can he find Alphari? Curve it, no! He loses the snowball, but look at Nunu using Willem. Absolute Zero gets channeled. Rift Herald is interrupted. Maxlore not going to be able to find the kill just yet. Finally picks it up, and Rift Herald will now reset. Misfits starting to group up as Febiven gets a lot of damage onto Mithy. Origen get their first kill on the board.
Yeah, but Misfits are sitting at 5 kills right now as SoaZ just buys enough time for Maxlore to make his way up to the top side. That would have been a kill had the rest of Origen not shown up. And Misfits, they're keeping up with the pressure, demonstrating once again, once they have a lead, they are reluctant to let it go.
Absolutely the case. Misfits last week set the League of Legends European Championship gold record for as long as we have been tracking the stat. Last year, Misfits went 9-0, and they had the largest gold lead at 15 minutes. They broke their own record against SK Gaming of over 10,000 gold lead. And you know what? They're already 1,500 gold up against Origen.
So here, Alphari is able to sidestep the snowball. Maxwell flashes in to land the root so that he can then set up for the ulti, which might have been enough to get the kill if he was able to channel it properly. But unfortunately for him, the knock-up from Nukeduck and Kold was enough to buy time. But the red buff still helps him secure the kill, meaning it ends up being a 1-for-1 overall. But Misfits still controlling this Drake. Going to be the second one of the game. Maxwell been doing a great job once again on the Nunu. And this Nunu has been coming up big.
Vedius, 13 minutes in. 2 dragons, despite conceding the only kill that Misfits have done all game, it interrupted the Rift Herald play. So if Misfits are able to regain some control of that top map, which they currently have with Vision, maybe they can also get the Herald. So let's take a look what's happening here. SoaZ.
Thank you, observers, for pointing out the vision as well. You can see the entire river across the whole of the map is controlled by Misfits. They are just, even though they had a losing lane bot, they had a losing lane top, mid was neutral, Misfits have still been able to come out on top when it comes to the early game. This is really great stuff from Misfits, and now you're just kind of looking at this OG comp being like, this is going to get hard for them, because their composition very much revolves around the success of Patrik. They put a lot of emphasis on the Kog'Maw hype train, and if they cannot get him going, if he's not able to deal damage in these team fights, then Misfits are just going to melt through them. And Hansama, level 9 on the Vayne, outscales in terms of the late game. And he's already completed a Blade of the Ruin King.
Yep, coming up against the Cutlass and attack speed dagger for Patrik. Tower plating, at least one of them's been chunked out. And now Kold, with the help of Alphari just north, fancies his shot at the Herald. I'm looking at the minimap. Febiven's nowhere near. Level 10 right now to Nukeduck's level 10. And I think Febiven should be able to get you in time. Sion played by SoaZ, can also use that unstoppable onslaught. And look, Origen, they're trying so hard to get this Herald, but Kold is investing this time and it is simply not paying off. Misfits have responded appropriately, and they've even been able to stop it twice.
Very impressed with what Misfits have been able to do so far. Let's see how they convert it. Again, very good at turning early game snowballs into big wins. They've had some of the fastest games we've seen here in Europe, and it was hilarious last week when G2 set an incredibly fast game time, and then Misfits just went and one-upped them against SK. It's been a constant battle, and remember, G2 were pushed to the brink earlier today by XL, and so far Misfits have looked as clean as they have since their arrival to the LEC.
At the top of the show today, fans voted for G2 to be the super team, and G2 took a lot of damage from XL. Now let's take a look at Maxlore. He's going to get taunted up in place here, and will get shut down. Now Febiven, this is bold. He's committing 1v2, SoaZ will be late to the party. Look at the river though, because Hunt, Summer and Gorilla, they're making their way up. Tahm Kench will deliver. Nobody, Patrik wasn't with them, I can't quite see. No taunt just yet. That's because Patrik is just north of the mid lane. Origen pick up an easy kill onto Maxlore. This Rift Herald is doomed. Everybody that tries to start it concedes their life. And just after 15 minutes, it's an 800 gold lead to Misfits.
You say easy quick shot, but that was 2 flashes burnt from the side of Origen. Maxlore didn't even have his available, but now Origen looking for a play onto SoaZ. He does have his ulti, no flash though.
Look at the mini-map. Misfits are aware of it. Maxlore is making his way towards the top lane. Oh, he fumbled that one. Lost the snowball. You can't always control the avalanche. And Origen are not overcommitting. They're not biting off more than they can chew. So 2-0-0 for Nukeduck. He was able to pick up that kill after using the flash. Thank you for that one. And Febiven now, with the CS he's picked up, has got the Gunblade secured. Hunt Summer got a recurve bow as well. So big spikes here for everybody on the Rift.
But I also like this swap coming out from Misfits, because they realize that OG want to put a lot more attention onto securing this Rift Herald, because it means that they can clear out mid, making Febiven's life a little bit harder, and they can move out of the laning phase. So because they've been able to stall it out for so long, Hunt Summer now makes his way up to the top side of the map, and he's actually likely going to secure this first tower of the game. But fortunately for Origen, Patrik shows up just in time.
It's so close, but Patrik's got a lot of friends to play with. Nukeduck's in the mid lane. The rest of Origen are grouping around top, but with Kold stood on top of a ward, Misfits have to feel it. Febiven's making his way up from the river. Vedius, this could be a fight breaking out.
Yeah, there's no teleport available on SoaZ. Galio is posturing to set up a play. Alphari comes out of Fog of War. Isn't able to convert it into anything though.
I absolutely love this. Both teams fully respecting the opponent's ability to initiate a fight. Nobody has misstepped or overcommitted just yet, but just as I say that, Maxlore stepping forward, takes a Justice Punch to the face. He's got flash available, instantly uses it, is now being chased and run down. Fear Beyond Death is available by Alphari. He's not going to be able to Q's it though, as the Rift Herald is finally secured. And it once again costs somebody as Maxlore uses the flash.
Maxlore gets a big heal from his consume just at the last second to avoid the disdain from securing that kill. Oh, only a single flash from Alphari was used to exchange it for Maxlore's, while SoaZ was just consistently pushing in the bot side of the map. It will mean Origen get that Rift Herald, though. They've been fighting very hard to secure it for themselves. The question is, where will they look to put it? They're already ulting into the middle lane. I feel like they have their eyes very clearly set on this big structure.
Okay, tower is available, especially with the help of Rift Herald. Infernal Drake is available just south, so SoaZ will pick up the first tower of the game down in the bottom lane. Plus 450 gold. And he's got himself a ton of armor to play with, obviously. Now, of course, Kold, he jumps into Gorilla. Gorilla's taking so much damage. Flash is available to him. Kold gets knocked back into the hands of Febiven. Hunt Summer. Here comes SoaZ. He finds Patrik. Patrik wants to flash defensively. Febiven's looking for Mithy. There's already a kill on the board as Kold is taken down. Origen are routed and Origen are wrecked. Misfits find 3.
Massive team fight win for Misfits, and they continue to snowball this game. It ends up being a 3-0 as Origen are left wanting. Beautiful stuff there for Misfits. They're going to convert it into their final outer tower and an Infernal Drake.
3 dragons, 3 towers, 8 kills. Vedius, is this the beginnings of the Misfits super team?
Could be, could be. You can see here, Kold engages onto Gorilla, and he knocks him back into the team. Now, this fight starts off as a 4v5, because SoaZ is able to get there much faster than Alphari is. The fact that Alphari, one of the big frontline bruisers, isn't available, and the fact that Misfits can just keep hitting whoever is in front of them because of how quickly they melt through the front line with the Vayne, It means that Misfits can just chase after these kills, turn it into a 3-kill advantage, and then now they're sitting at like a 3-4K gold lead.
Yeah, just before 20 minutes on the clock. And with all the threat that they have, all the damage that they have, it just feels like Misfits can do no wrong. EU mids, man. Febiven will eventually kill blue buff. Apparently it's more difficult to kill blue than it is to kill Origen, as Misfits are 8-2 up. Thanks for that one.
And I feel like this should silence the doubters now for Misfits. I think they've demonstrated that they can compete in the early game against teams that are considered of the higher quality. They are able to convert early game leads into bigger leads, and that they have individual performers across the board. SoaZ finding a solo kill against Alphari, Febiven 1-0-1, level 13, and Hansama, even on a Vayne, ends up finding kills in the laning phase.
And I also think, I agree with the sentiment, but if you were a doubter, if you wanted to believe it, until you see Misfits taking on G2 eSports, you're not going to fully buy in.
For me, just seeing how well they're doing against Origen, considering how well prepared Origen have looked and how strong they were to me last week, I was expecting this to be a very close game. I mean, I predicted Origen to be able to win out, but Misfits, I didn't think that if they didn't get a winning bot side of the map, they'd be able to make this happen, but they proved me wrong. Maxlore was a huge part of that, bringing out the Nunu. Now Hansama, 2 items on the Vayne.
Yeah.
2 0 and 4. Misfits should be afraid of nothing right now.
Now, what I will say, Vedius, is that you did not buy into the hype quite as much as the rest of the broadcast team. You were one of the doubters, talking about Misfits need to prove it, need to show that they can play. So this is the first step on that path. I, however, bought into the super team hype very, very heavily. And Misfits aren't delivering. That goal lead 4,000. They're on the verge of taking over this mid game. Now, let's not forget the fact that this can go belly up very, very quickly. Galio, Xin, Urgot, as well as a Kog'Maw that is working towards that second item. There are tools still in Origen's camp, but it is reliant on Origen to find either Febiven or Hansama quickly.
Do you recall back in the old days of Nunu where he could be quite effective at Baron?
I do. I'm quite old. I remember a lot.
Now got a Vayne plus a Nunu duo that can actually secure this Baron as a duo. 21 minutes in, there's no vision. This is gone. This is it. Misfits have got it.
Okay, Febiven's trying to buy some time. He's distracting Kold and Nukeduck. Baron's already secured, uncontested. Origen, you're too late to the party. The invites were sent, but you simply did not respond in time. Misfits take Baron at 22 minutes. And you know what, Vedius? As I have had some fun with quick stats, you do know I love my dragons, right?
This is probably...
Can I tell you the most impressive dragon stat that I've ever delivered?
Tell me.
3 games in a row today, all 3 games that I have cast, we have seen 3 Infernal Drakes.
Wow.
9 Infernal Drakes to bring the fire to the caster desk and the LEC. And I will remember this day for eternity because I love my dragons, Vedius.
Stop touching me, QuickShot. Makes me uncomfortable.
Oh, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen of Berlin. Misfits extend their gold lead to 8,000 gold. And really would like to see the sad look at Deficio's face as his team is being crushed across the map.
The holding no punches
And let's be fair, both of these teams are new to the stage. Both of these teams still have to learn to play together, but it is very arguable and very defendable that Misfits' experience and competitive history arguably has a higher ceiling than what we've seen, which is why they started a stronger foot earlier on.
Well, I like what Misfits are doing. They're now playing the 1-3-1. They have the Baron buff that they got very early on into the game. And OG are just kind of running out of options. The Kog'Maw now has 2 items, but I don't know if he's at too much of a deficit for Origen to really fight yet. Like, he's level 11 to the level 13 Hansama. Febiven is now level 15. Just the levels by themselves are so huge between the 2 teams that Origen are just slowly being pushed further and further back into their base.
5 towers have fallen to 0 as Misfits are now under pressure. Febiven takes so much damage from Nukeduck, definitely underestimating the burst that this AP Galio can put down. Hansama and Gorilla making their way to this bottom outer turret. The final outer turret is now eliminated as Misfits are 6-0 up. The gold lead continues to grow, continues to develop, and Misfits can peel back for that Infernal, the 9th one of our 3 games, Vedius. It makes me so happy. I'm actually happier about the Dragons than anything else I've said today.
That's a weird thing to be happy about, but alright, QuickShot, each to their own. Point is that there is in fact a third Infernal. OG are going to fight for it.
All right, SoaZ is playing Interruption. Disdain might toss him backwards, but he's used the ultimate to buy some time. Maxlore secures the kill onto the Infernal. That's 3 of them. That's plus 24% ability and damage. They may not even need it. That's a kill. At least one onto Gorilla. But it's at what cost? Hunsummer's down. Origen, they will not go quietly into the night, and they will win the fight.
This is big for Origen. They got a lot of shutdowns there. Killing Hansama and giving the kills over to Patrik means that Origen now have a chance at coming back into this game. They need to secure at least a tower off the back of this, reclaim some map control, get some of the gold back in their pockets as Misfits make a crucial mistake.
This is exactly what we did say in the event, that this combination from Origen can get onto the squishy targets. Hansama had flash and heal available, but he was just run down where he stood. All credit to Origen in such a difficult situation to find the crucial targets.
Now, they just kind of focus on SoaZ, and you can see that Patrick's damage is not low. He does have the Rageblade Blade in the Rookie. Now, the mistake here for Hansama is he thinks he can just kill Kold. He doesn't actually get inside the circle, so he does no damage to Kold. He buys all this time. Nukeduck gets the flash taunt onto him. And while Gorilla dies, it just means that the front line is disappearing. Febiven can't really fight in just a full-on 5v5 situation, which means the Origen find themselves 3 kills. Now, they lose the Infernal, but finding 3 kills with the gold going onto your AD carry is definitely a step in the right direction in terms of coming back into the game.
Somebody tell Hansama that when the Crescent Guard is thrown down, you need to be inside the circle.
Yes, you do.
Kill damage. Of course, that was a pretty split-focus fight. Now, Vedius with 1.5 minutes until the next Baron. 4 dragons sitting on the side of Misfits. Gonna ask you a question I once asked my former co-caster.
Yes.
What percentage odds do you give Origen to bounce back from this game?
27.
And what do they need to do to increase that 27%?
Kill Hansama more.
Okay.
So if you have a full 5v5 fight, just like Origen did, where you can literally just like form a little ball around Patrik. You know, everyone cuddles him, everyone's really close. Oh, where's the ball? Where's the ball?
There is no ball because it's Misfits that have started the fight! The 3-man decimating smash! Hansama is going to be free! He's untouched, and he's going to be helped out as Febiven, as well as Gorilla, pick up 3 quick kills. Origen did not anticipate the initiation, and Misfits once again reclaim control.
Origen didn't make the ball. Hansama was just free hitting onto Patrik, and without that defense, Origen faltered. Now with 5 members alive, Misfits are looking to take an inhibitor. Maybe they'll look to take more.
There's 20-second kill timers, or death time is still on the sides of Origen. That's a knock-up into a knock-up. That's air time for Alphari. He's forced to flash to safety. The Absolute Zero starts to dissuade their escape. Hansama's taken, whoa, way too many tower shots. Nexus turret number 1 falls down as Mithy starts to channel the ultimate. Hansama gets a couple extra autos on the outer turret in the mid lane, but there's some teleports coming into the river. What direction does Misfit retreat?
Oh, the Baron has just spawned, and that's a lot of low health members for Misfits. I wonder if Origen can somehow turn this into the big purple one, because if they can, that is how Origen raise that percentage as Misfits are on the retreat.
What is the percentage now? It was 27 before those last
like
fights.
17, maybe
down
8.
to 17%. Febiven, oh, that blast cone went the wrong way, buddy. He does have flash available to him, as well as the ultimate to get over the wall.
Here we go. This is it. Do or die for Origen now.
Misfits have not recalled. They're looking to re-initiate. Hansama's healed up a fair amount. Here comes SoaZ. The death ball could still be made by the Origen roster. The initiation comes in as a gigantic snowball is thrown down. Kold with the ultimate, blocking those autos from Hansama. Now Misfits, they are split. Gorilla's low,
look at that.
Hansama. Whoa, they've already killed Maxlore. The initiation from Febiven. He buys some time by going golden. Alphari's down before he can do any more. Now it's a 4v4. And Misfits have got the HP bars to work with. They've got CC to play with. Kold is looking for a knock-up into SoaZ. He needs to get the 3 talent strike. Decimating smash buys a few seconds of time. Febiven does he decide to initiate. Holds on for a few seconds long. Zombie Sion is now pushing back. Look at the mini-map. There's super minions inside the base.
Yes, and Hansama is still alive. You can see he's healing up in the enemy jungle. Origen, they want to get back. They want to defend. The TP's coming in from the Kog'Maw. No, you're going to leave your teammates, man.
Oh, what is he going to do? Kold and Mithy are now in so much trouble. That's another kill to Unsummer. Mithy is running for his life as Patrik runs away to defend the last standing Nexus turret.
QuickShot, Maxlore's just about to respawn. The jungler has just been killed for Origen, and now it was a great play for Origen in finding a successful fight. Can now be turned around by Misfits. They've gone straight back to it.
29 minutes in, there's another Mountain Drake available after this Baron. Misfits have got every single tool in their arsenal to finish this game off. But you know what? Origen have not given up. Origen have found opportunity after opportunity when they are insanely behind this game. And I'm very impressed with how well they've kept their heads when in a deficit.
So remember for Origen to keep your eyes on Patrik in the whole fight. He is 1v1 against SoaZ in the pit, whereas Alphari and Kold are just zoning the rest of them away. With the fact that Patrik is left untouched is great. Now, Alphari thinks in this situation, hey, if I get a big fear off, we can snowball this fight. But then Febiven goes onto the back line, and that separates Alphari from the rest of his team, allowing Hansama to secure that kill. Now, the rest of Origen commit onto SoaZ. They think if they get that kill, then they're in a good spot. They don't choose to go back to base. And Nukeduck, he's like, wait, what if Hansam is still here? Oh, wait, he is. He just melts through the mid laner for Origen. There's nothing that he can do about it. And while he does get a return kill, the mistake then comes from Patrik. He wants to defend the base. He TPs back in. He abandons his teammates. And now Misfits sit with a Baron. 8,000 gold is the lead. 3 items on Kog'Maw. 3.5 on the Vayne. While I'd like to say that Misfits should be able to cleanly close things out, I still feel like Origen stand a chance. I'm not going to take a breath. Please cast some stuff, QuickShot.
Absolutely the case. The 5th dragon was picked up by Misfits, which means the very next one will be Elder, just after 35 and a bit minutes. So if this next siege doesn't work out, Misfits have got that backup plan. They expose another inhibitor. Alphari's looking for a disdain. He's trying to find a target, but look at how much damage! The Devour was needed by Mithy to buy some time. Here comes Febiven, here comes SoaZ. They're gonna find themselves the targets. That's a dead Patrik already. The Protect the Puppy comp is obliterated. Misfits have done it, have defeated Origen in 31 minutes at 3-0. Is this your super team?
Excellent game from Misfits. They got the early lead, and while there were a couple of fights that didn't go their way, they did not slow down. This is the kind of League of Legends we want to be seeing from our top teams. Recognizing they're stronger, constantly looking for fights, but also being able to turn losing matchups into winning ones just through smart play and individual outplay.
Absolutely fantastic performance from Misfits. And what an incredible debut. Reminder that in 2017, the Misfits organization had a disappointing year. 2018, sorry. 2017, they made it to World Quarters. They took SKT to 5 games, but last year, the roster moves did not work out. This time around, rebuilding around Hansama, bringing in SoaZ, bringing in Febiven, and very importantly, bringing in Gorilla. I still do not think you can evaluate just how much Gorilla is setting Hansama up for success, because he's always the man moving first, and Hansama just brings it home.
And Origen, they're going to be frustrated with this loss. Like, they had winning lanes. They were set up for success, but Alphari is going to be so frustrated dying 1v1. And
absolutely.
In the bot lane as well, the fact that it was just a misplay from not knowing what Nunu does. Like, the heal didn't come out, the grey health wasn't popped.
Unexpected burst damage, as you mentioned.
Yes.
Once that snowball and silver bolts connected at roughly the same time, that was just an easy kill into Patrik. I do like the fact that Origen put together some very impressive team fights despite being down 8,000 gold. Okay, that dragon fight, you really, really, really cannot highlight how impressive that is in a situation that Origen were in. And I also acknowledge, and I like the fact that for the org, for the players, to go back to protect the AD carry comp, which is what they were famous for, what they were synonymous for in 2015. There is a sense of beautiful irony in that too.
And you asked me a bunch of questions at the start of this game, QuickShot. What does Misfits look like against a stronger team? Answer, they're good. What does Hansama look like when he doesn't have a winning matchup bot lane? Doesn't matter. Maxlore's going to get him a kill anyway. Can Febiven still compete with the top mid laners in Europe? Hell yeah, he can. Looks great on the Akali. Misfits, it only builds more hype for the Misfits versus G2 matchup coming to us in week 5.
Well, 2 teams stand on top of the LEC after today. 3-0 for G2, as well as Misfits. But boy, oh boy, did they accomplish that 3-0 in very different ways today, of course.
Oh, yeah.
G2 earlier, really having a very exciting, very interesting matchup against XL Esports. And for Misfits, I mean, they just keep doing it. It doesn't seem to matter who the opposition is. And Hansama, the man on your screen, when combined with Gorilla, the Gohan bottom lane, they just go Super Saiyan.
Yes, they do.
They just take it to the next level. And the question is, what tier of Super Saiyan can they unlock?
See, but that's... So, going into the bit of Dragon Ball lore now, right? I think last year is when we actually saw Super Saiyan Hansama. Maybe 2017. But now that he has Gorilla, he has pulled forth the ultimate sword, and he has awakened Ultimate Gohan, the true Gohan. The one that doesn't rely on his Super Saiyan powers.
And in this scenario, the ultimate sword is in fact Gorilla, right?
Yeah, he's
That's
the
what's
one.
actually unlocked the power.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to see what this duo and what this team will do. I also am very interested to see how well the team will continue this run. I don't want to be the Debbie Downer, but I'm going to be. Misfits went 10-0.
They did.
Lost summer, and then crashed and burned so phenomenally that they didn't make it to Worlds. After going 10-0, after the most impressive run in summer, when everyone was doing funnel comps and everyone was doing majors, and they were just like, Hansama's going to play an 80 carry, and that's what worked. I need to see them not make those same mistakes with this team, with this roster, for me to truly, truly, truly print the badge that says Super Team of LEC.
Well, I've bought into the hype. I'm impressed. I think that they had a fantastic game. Maxlore, he's elevated from a 200 IQ jungler to like 400 IQ. He's only 400 away from Tarzan, so he's getting there. He's on his way up. But like the man, he's a genius.
It worked out. And the Nunu surprised us, but as soon as First Blood landed, you knew it was going to be impressive. Look, that was the final game of the day in the books done today. So the last important question is, who's your key player of the game? Will it be Hansama, SoaZ, or Gorilla? It's so tough.
Stuff. Maxlore was... I feel like Maxlore needs to be on that list.
Yeah, I still... For me, I think Gorilla or SoaZ, when you think of the initiations, that was then cleaned up by Hansama and Febiven. You know, the initiators, the guys that start the play that often die, don't tend to get that recognition. So this game, I feel like they were really the playmakers.
I think you could vote for any one of the members, if I'm being honest. I think they all contributed. For me, Maxlore was the standout in terms of the early game setup that he provided, but I think you could make an argument for all of them. Misfits, they had a fantastic game. I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do throughout the rest of the split.
Well, let's see what you guys at home vote for. Before we get to PGL, Medic is sitting down with Misfits, SoaZ, as well as Gorilla.
Thank you very much, QuickShot. I am joined by SoaZ, Gorilla, and Hajin, the interviewer from Misfits. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, SoaZ, after that win, I think we're going to hear more than ever that Misfits are this super team. Would you call yourselves a super team?
I mean, I think it's too early to say. Obviously, on paper, we build a really strong roster, but I mean, we only played together for like a month plus, so there's like still so much to like learn for us, and yeah, I think like any team can just take the first spot right now. We will see, the closer it gets towards playoff, then the stronger the top teams are gonna be. But yeah, maybe we'll see, like, you know, in a few months eventually.
It feels like someone who wants to call himself a super team but isn't quite confident enough to say it yet. Yeah,
because it's too early in the split to talk about this. So hopefully we will be at some point, right?
Okay, we'll wait and see as the split does develop. Gorilla, we've seen Misfits play consistently through their bottom lane, you know, level 2, level 3 ganks. How is it working as part of the team when you know you're going to get the focus?
이제 미스피츠가 바텀 위주로 많이 플레이를 하는 것 같은데요. 어떠신가요?
이게 원래 이제 미스피츠 같은 경우에 원래 바텀으로 해오던 팀이잖아요. 제가 온 거와 별개로. 근데 그냥 자기네끼리 하는 거에 그냥 제가 숟가락만 얹으면 되는 느낌인 것 같아요.
Yeah, you know, even before I came in this team, they were always playing like this. So I think like I'm adding myself to the team. I don't do much.
Okay, because you seem to be doing quite a lot in the first couple of weeks. Like you and Hansama seem to be on the same page. How is it that you guys have connected so quickly? How do you have such good synergy?
그래도 보면은 되게 합이 잘 맞는 것 같은데 어떻게 그렇게 빨리 합을 맞추셨나요?
이게 아직 부족한 점이 많은데 이렇게 경기만 오면은 잘 되는 것 같아서 되게 기쁘고요. 앞으로도 더 좋은 모습을 보여줄 수 있으면 좋겠습니다.
Well, actually, we still have a lot to learn together, but I don't know why when we're on stage, we're just on fire. So I hope we can keep going like this.
Right, it's working out for you guys at the moment. I want to talk a little bit about your role in the team, SoaZ. We've seen you play Sion a couple of times. We've seen one Kennen game. It feels a little bit like you're relegated to tank duty a lot of the time. Do you think that is truthful, or do you think you're doing more of a role in the team?
I mean, I think I'm more like a... I mean, throughout my career, I was always like sort of like a fill player, just adapting my role towards like what's best. Same for like, you know, when we are playing long in Origen, more playing towards bot side, and then I joined Fnatic, and then it was the same thing. We played towards bot side the first year, then we played towards mid the second year. So I'm just adapting, depending of what's best to fit the team.
Do you ever think that you'd like to be on a team that plays around top side? Because you've never really had that.
I mean, we play towards top side sometimes. What do you mean, like playing like carries towards top side?
Yeah, Fiora, Jax, you know, just have Maxlore ganking your lane at level 2 instead of going bot lane and helping out these guys.
I mean, Fiora and Jax is more like split pushing, right? I think it's fun sometimes, but I feel like I'm playing at my best when I'm playing engaged champions. So yeah, if like I'm just really good at looking for opportunities to create a good team fight, and I think that's what I've been doing like the past years, you know.
Yeah, we saw it today as well with some of your great flanks on Sion. I want to ask a little bit about this game against Origen. You guys had an early lead, but then it kind of collapsed a little bit in the mid game. Maybe it was part of the plan. Did you guys expect to fall behind like you did in the mid game?
이제 초반 때 되게 이기다가 중간 때 약간 위기가 왔는데 그런 걸 약간 생각하셨나요?
일단 그렇게 위기가 왔다고 생각하진 않았고요. 그냥 제가 탑에 조금 너무 오래 있지 않았나 그거가 있고, 그냥 세 번째 불룡을 먹고 나서 제가 한번 던진 게 좀 컸던 것 같아요.
So I don't think we fall behind like mid game, but I think I stayed maybe a too long time top side, and you know after the third Infinite Drake, I kinda inted, yeah.
Okay, right. I'm glad that you admit it so that I don't have to say it, Gorilla. The other super team in the LEC at the moment is G2 eSports. You guys haven't faced them yet. You're not facing them until a couple of weeks down the line, I believe. How do you think that team is shaping up as a roster? Do you think they would challenge you right now?
I mean, yeah, definitely. I think, I mean, as everyone knows, like the strongest part about G2 is like their ability to play a lot of different champions on a lot of roles, and eventually being able to flexes some of the champions as well. So they're just very creative in picks and bans and also in their play. And yeah, I think it's just normal for them with the addition of caps, just letting him want to play the style that he wants, and also like the team is willing to adapt. So I think they are really strong team, and the strongest part about them is definitely picks and bans. It helps them a lot for sure.
They definitely have a lot of flexibility. Final question before we go over to PGL. I'm going to ask you guys to put yourself where you're going to be at the end of the season. Like, is this Misfits first at the end of the regular season, or are you looking at like second or third or fourth? Gorilla, we'll start with you.
이번 시즌에 우리가 몇 위 할 것 같으신가요?
일단은 뭐 1위 한다고 장담은 할 수 없는데, 이제 이 상태로 이제 저희 팀의 문제점은 물론 제가 생각하기엔 소통이거든요. 제가 아직 소통 부분에서 완벽하지 못하는 게 조금 아쉬운데, 그것만 이제 시간이 주어진다면 충분히 1위를 노릴 수 있지 않을까 생각합니다.
Well, I can't assure we'll be first because our biggest problem right now is the communication, as my English is not perfect. But I think if we fix that, we can be first.
Okay, so first, if you get a little bit better English. So as I'm going to change the question slightly for you, because I think you're going to say, I can't say we'll definitely be first. Is this the best team you've ever played on?
On paper, yeah. I think in even most of the teams, like, you know, first year Fnatic, first year Origen, like we are like really strong teams towards the end, right? But always the start of any team, even if it's a really strong team on paper, there's a lot of room to grow. So yeah, on paper it's definitely the best team, but we will see if it ends up being the best. Yeah.
If you grow to reach the potential you think you can reach, will this be the best team ever?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Oh? Misfits the super team. Best team ever by SoaZ. That's it from us here. Let's hand it over to PGL.